Bruno Show. Celebrities, pop culture, and comedy.
You was Michael Jackson, is it?
No, that's Bruno Mars.
Oh.
I was his first celebrity interview.
Oh.
So he made it big. He made it big in America, and he was working on his first album.
Right.
And I had to go interview him. It was this tiny studio the size of this room.
Right.
And I brought that picture because my friend was his friend in Hawaii and goes, he impersonated Michael Jackson as a kid.
Yeah.
And so I brought it up, and to see a guy that was so insecure at the time, but now he's like has all this swag.
Oh, he's
like,
one of the most talented people ever.
Yeah.
The music's not for me, but he's one of those guys that you watch there you go, oh, I get it.
Have you ever seen one of his
concerts? He's too talented to fail.
Yeah, he's just so good. Have you ever been to one of his shows?
No, and I don't intend. I'm not the. I don't intend on ever going to see Bruno Mars, but I appreciate that he's talented. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Well, what's your group then? Like, what's the group?
I've seen Oasis live maybe 20 times, 30 times. I've seen The Killers live many times. And there's been different bands, but I got to a point in about 2005 when I called it a day on music.
Oh, you're just done with it?
No, don't need it anymore. I love music, but once you've got the Beatles, the Stone Roses, and Oasis, and the Killers, and a few folky bands that I like, and Neil Finn, and all these people, I don't want anyone new in the group. It's like when you're old and you can't make friends as easy.
Oh, it's so tough.
Yeah, because you've already got your group of friends, and like.
Why is it so hard to make friends? Because it's so true. Like, it's hard to my wife invites me to meet people all the time, and it's just. Maybe I'm just not interested. I don't know. It's so tough.
I've gotten better at it because of, I moved to England when I was 20, and then I moved to America when I was 30. And so each time I had to start again. So I lost all my sort of teenage friends and all that type of stuff, lost all of them. And then I made I made my whole group of friends in Britain. And then I'm still friends with them, but they live in Britain. And then I moved to America, and I didn't really have any friends to begin with, and so I found you meet them mostly at work or other, but like with me, I wasn't really, I sort of went straight into headlining, and I didn't, so the camaraderie of being an open micer with somebody, that's where I met all my friends to begin with. When you're all coming up and you all used to be, taking drugs or drinking or whatever at some guy's dig of a house, and you're like, we're all going to make it. It's going to be, this is going to be massive, you know what I mean? And then once you get a bit of success, you become more of an island as well, I think.
Now, when you moved to America, what was the level of success? Were you already huge?
I was doing theaters in Britain. I just started doing theaters in Britain. I was off the circuit. And it's different in Britain because you can be a headline act and still be doing comedy clubs. You can be a celebrity and still doing comedy clubs. In Britain, no one even lists who's performing in their club, really. People just show up. There isn't like a next week David Spade's coming type of a thing,
So they have a built-in crowd out there. They just
but comedy's sort of dying because of that format now over there. They're having a few problems. Because what happened was comedy got hugely popular on TV. And there was a show called Michael McIntyre's Road Show, and a lot of comics. So when I started out in Britain, there was like 8 famous comics, and they were all of them. Some of them were off. That was the 8, and then there was a whole load of us that were just. And the internet hadn't really kicked off in the way it has now. YouTube wasn't even. There was like 8 famous people, and the rest of us were all just clubbing comics, and we were making a good living because you get £200 a show there, and so you were making £80,000 a year, which was good money, and you weren't famous. That was the best years of my life,
Really?
And what happened is then they had a lot of TV shows, then the introduction of people watching clips on the internet, and then putting too many stand-up specials out. What happens is now there's like 60 famous comics over there, and they're taking all the tickets. So the clubs are dying. So everyone's gone from watching comedy in comedy clubs to watching comedy in theaters and small, community centers and shit like that.
Do they still have the format where the host is like the star of the show? Isn't that true or no?
The MC isn't the MC in America just seems to introduce people on for the most part, and that's. Can I vape in here? Is that,
oh sure, do it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
people might think that your kid will walk in here in 3 months and.
No, my kid, but I do have a baby up here.
Yeah, but it's not gonna. It's not in the room with me right now. Like, are you out of your mind? It's like way over there.
It's way over there.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
way
It's about 1,000 square feet away from us right now.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
So what was I talking about? So
we were talking about. I was talking about the host.
the MCs in America. They just sort of bring everyone on. They might joke around a little bit, but like in Britain, they seem to have a slightly more starring role. They get £50 more than the other acts because they have to be on for longer.
Well, in New York, they do that. The host gets more than the feature.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess, but
I knew very quickly what type of comedy I was doing because they always wanted to put, like, if I'm on a bill, and still to this day, if you book me on a late night show, there's always like a female is the other guest. Or
to
something.
Balance it out?
Yeah, just to go, our show's not too blokey. You know what I mean? Like, if they have two of me, then the show's in trouble. You know what I mean?
Do you like doing late night sets?
I did one set on Lopez Tonight when I first got to America, and it didn't go particularly well. I remember looking very greasy. I just didn't look washed. But I was still heavily drinking back in those days, so I looked a little bloated, you know.
Oh, okay.
But I only did one, and then after that, I said I wouldn't do stand-up comedy unless it was a special, because I'd already recorded 2 specials at that stage when I first sort of got to America. I had one in Britain and one over here, and I didn't want to give away material. And you know, if you do something on panel, you can say it on panel and then do it as stand-up because it's a different thing. The beats are different, and you know, people can, you know, it's not the same thing. And so I just never wanted to give stand-up away. And so I just held out. I got offered, you know, all the shows to do stand-up on, and I said I'll only be a guest. And now I've done them all except for, I've done Fallon like 3 times. I've only done Colbert once. I don't think Colbert liked me as a person.
Why?
Well, you watch. There's a clip. Watch my clip. I did really well. It's edited to look like I'm dying, and also it helps the fact that it looks like I'm dying because Colbert's just sitting, just staring at me after every joke. And then watch Bill Burr as well on Colbert, and he does the same thing to Bill as well.
Really?
I think he has a problem with what he considers to be the more macho comedians or whatever. I'm not, you know,
No,
I don't think of
I
myself,
got you.
or
Yeah.
alpha male comics or whatever he perceives us to be. I think he has an issue with them.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Because I think his kind of like politically.
I used to love the Colbert
Yeah.
Report. It was one of my #1 shows. I was very excited to be on the show. But
When did you pop in America? Then was it as soon as you got here? You were doing.
I came over to America. Then I did a little bit of radio and stuff like that. Opie and Anthony always had me on, and then I did Jim Norton's Down and Dirty, and after that HBO, I did like a 10-minute set, and HBO said, "I will do a special with you," and that was back when specials were very, very rare. They
They were special.
Yeah, Netflix didn't exist as it does now, and it was I got paid very little, but it was the best career break I ever had. I had to break a contract with in Britain. I'd signed on for a small amount of money for 5 specials with this company. But at the time I had no money, so they took all the money back, and I'd already paid taxes on it and all this type of stuff. So I was deep in the hole. By the time HBO paid me, I still was tens of thousands of dollars in debt from the other thing. And but I just sort of thought, oh, that'll be a better move. And I didn't know what would happen after the special. I thought, I guess, you know, because these specials are so rare back then, I guess I'll be off to the races. You always heard those stories of like Johnny Carson, if he invited you to the couch.
Done.
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
was
you
your
saw
whole
that.
life. He invited you to the couch. You're a superstar, right?
I mean, they had 30 million people watching that show at that time. That's incredible.
And now you can do 1,000 late night spots, and it won't make any difference.
No,
it's
not-
still good to do, but
yeah,
it's not. You know.
It's a credit now. It's not a game changer.
Yeah, it's not a game changer. So I did that special, and then they just that just allowed me to be a headline act in clubs. So I was doing rooms for very cheap, like stupidly low money to headline for the weekend, and they were papering the whole rooms, you know, because that's the thing with comedy clubs. They basically, you know this, they basically earn the same money whoever's on that weekend.
Because the bigger comic's going to take 90%.
The bigger comics will take all the door.
Yep.
and the smaller comic will do it for free, and then they'll take all the booze, and they're just taking all the booze and the food anyway. That's all they're taking anyway. Everything, and so as long as that room's full every week, they're sort of making the same amount of money. And it's better for them to have the bigger acts because it makes the club seem more prestigious. But yeah, every now and again, a guy like me will swoop in, and then if you can come in and then you do a really good job, then they're happy as well because the crowd leaves happy and all that type of stuff. So that's what I did. I just sort of pounded the pavement for about 3 years. Doing the clubs, and then I don't know when I moved into theaters. I don't know. I can't remember why that happened really.
Okay, there wasn't a big TV appearance or anything. There was a
bit in my career that popped, but I was already in theaters. But like I think has given me a lot more longevity than the guns. Yeah.
The gun, yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, the guns thing was. Look, it's really sad because every time there was a shooting or something, my career would get a little kick, like because people would start posting this video all the time. And even now when there's a shooting, people go to me, they go, Jim, say something. And I'm like, what do you want me to fucking say? The guns, I still think guns are bad, and I'm still not a big component of everyone should have a gun, but that's my opinion. I understand it's in the law of America. I understand the Second Amendment. I'm not a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And so, unless the laws are changed, I'm not going to change people's minds, not with a little stand-up routine. I think what stand-up routines can do is it makes, especially a routine like that that's like 15 minutes long, when there is an argument at a party, it gives some light arguments for people to say. You know what I mean? If they watch the thing, they'll go, what about this? Because it's all in jokes, It's not real statistics and this and that. It's just like a lot of it's all hunch work where you go,
what
common sense.
That bit, how long, because, what I love about your style is it just seems like you're talking. You're just giving facts, you're making jokes, and it seems seamless. It's very much getting to know your personality.
Right.
It's very much you. But when you're working that out and it winds up 15 minutes, is that something like you had beats, or were you just kind of like, all right, that one worked, that one worked?
Well, I was already doing Legit at that stage, which was my sitcom on FX that no one saw, but I'm very fond of. And the people who watched it liked it. Yeah, so that's all that matters, right? I guess it would have been nicer if people watched it.
If more people watched it, you still would have been doing it.
It's still on Hulu. Check it out.
Yeah,
check it out. It's still on Hulu. Anyway, so we were doing Legit, and John Ratzenberg was on the show, who played Cliff Clavin from Cheers. And John's a Republican. I don't think I'm speaking out of term saying anything about John here that John wouldn't say himself. And John believes in guns and all that type of stuff. And he thinks I'm a lunatic, and I think his opinions are lunatic. And we're both friends. We both get along just great to this day, me and John. I was seated next to John when Sandy Hook happened, and so I was like, we were all just shocked, terrible kids, and we were all just, I was just become a father myself, and we were sitting there, and people were crying, and and he turns to me and goes, "Hey, Jimmy, none of this would have happened if those teachers had guns." And I just went, okay. And a lot of people believe that's a real argument, and that is a valid argument, but we haven't put it into tested it, and I don't agree with that. And so me and John maybe argued for 2 or 3 days.
If both sides have guns, you have a gunfight.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But if there was no,
and there's a few unstable teachers out there. Don't you fucking worry about that.
Tell me about it.
There's a teacher who would have shot me fucking point blank. Well, there was one that this teacher would have killed me.
They got teachers banging students. They're crazy. Teachers are crazy too, man. Whatever.
And so it was maybe 2 days of arguing, and the set was written. It was written because
just off the arguments.
Yeah, because every counter argument I had was like a funny, and then sometimes I tried to rile him up with little tiny arguments, and you know what I mean. By the time we were all done, I had this routine, and I did it. I remember the first time I sort of said on stage, I said, "All right, I'm going to talk about something guns," and then just people just the whole room went. Because not a lot of comics had done. George Carlin had a thing, and I think Bill Burr did a thing, and I don't know. I don't watch.
Chris Rock did a thing with guns.
Yeah, he did the bullets thing, that type of stuff. But I don't think a foreigner had done one, and you know what I mean. So there was a lot of tension when I first started doing it. I remember like a real hillbilly guy coming to see me before the special had come out, and I was like in full flight of doing that routine every day. And he's like, "Oh, Jim, man, I just love you. Oh, I'm so excited." And he wanted to see me do all my cock jokes. And I can do that whenever we want, you know what I mean? And what happened was, and he took a photo with me before the show. And I remember thinking, this guy's not going to like this show. He's not going to like it, you know? And then like I checked social media afterwards, and then he's like, there's the photo of me. This person's a piece of shit. And I was like, I felt so bad disappointing that guy because I know how excited he was. And he traveled to Vegas to see the show. And from whatever town he was from, you know what I mean? And he was there with his wife and he was just elated to be there. And then I fucking ruined his day.
For that one bit. Regardless of the rest of the show, it's just amazing to me how people hold. Look, I believe that you should have a right to have a gun too and all that stuff. But it's amazing how people will get so upset, you know, about you mentioning facts.
Well, I don't get upset about their right to have
Me
a gun.
neither.
I don't even try to really particularly stop them from having guns.
No.
I just think it's silly, and I think we don't need semi-automatic things, and there should be background checks and all that type of stuff. And I think most sensible people think that as well, but not everyone does, you know.
Yeah, it's like if you want to have a gun, have a gun. I'm not going to get mad at you, but if you say the opposite, they get mad.
They get mad, yeah.
If you make points, and
I don't think you should have a gun.
Yeah,
but I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, but have a gun. Have a gun.
Yeah, but also I grew up. I deal with it now with talking about people about healthcare, where. The American healthcare system to me is lunacy. It's fucking insanity, and you guys just go, well, I don't want to have weight like in Canada. What are you talking about? I grew up in a socialist society. Now I know 20 million people versus 330 million, very vastly different. Same argument that I said with the guns.
Yeah.
Right. But I tell you what, and then I lived in Britain. Britain's the NHS in Britain is the shit, and they've got 60 million people on a little fucking rock, man. And I never waited for shit. And
they have free healthcare.
Free healthcare.
Yeah.
Not just for their citizens, like in Australia.
If you hurt yourself over there, they'll...
You don't get travel insurance when you go to Britain. You're more protected while you're on holiday there than while you're living here. Right? Now, so Jim Jefferies is my original name, stage name, got rid of my last name, you know, whatever. I got a fractured skull. I had someone come up in Nottingham Journalers after I finished a gig and smashed my head into a table. This is when I was just my first few years of comedy. Right?
Oh my God.
And I cracked my skull here between my eyes. Well, the hit was here, but that's a softer part of the skull. And so anyway, I was getting these, like, I went to the hospital. I was like, I thought I was going to have a brain hemorrhage. I was just like, and so they took care of me. They put me in what I would call the drunken cunts ward, right? Like this was, it was the NHS. It was all free, but it was Nottingham on a Saturday night at 3 a.m. and there was just people with glass in their face. The Brits like to fight, right?
Yeah.
And then people use the word glass as a verb, right? and there's just drunk people just like, fuck off, and people being questioned by the police. Like, what did you do? But they were still in, And so I was there with me skull, and they'd bandaged me all up and x-rays and stuff like that. And they were monitoring me, checking my eyes every like half hour. Like I wasn't allowed to sleep, in case there was a problem. And so I was in a hell of a state. And then I was in there for maybe 4 days. It's my only extended amount of time in hospital. And I was in there for maybe 4 days. And then at the end I had a gig, and it was I believe it was the Leeds Festival, which is like a big music festival, and the Foo Fighters were playing, and I wanted to see them or something. And I was going to, for one of the first times in my career, I was going to perform on stage in front of maybe 3,000-4,000 people, So I thought that I didn't want to miss that, And so the doctors recommended I stay, and I said, oh no, I'll just go. And I just got up and I left. Now in that time, they never once asked to see my identification to check what my real name was. I was listed there as Jim Jefferies. They never once made me sign anything or ask if I had a medical provider. They kept me in hospital for 4 days, and then the British government gave me £10,000 as a victim of crime. And now imagine the same thing happening to you in America when you're not a citizen.
They'll throw you out.
You're fucking what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Do you think it could actually happen here free healthcare?
Um,
Because these
need-
companies hold so much weight.
The problem is, because everyone thinks, oh, I've got good insurance. Your insurance can at any stage say, we don't think this is the procedure to give you. You know what I mean? And so you might think you have the best insurance, but the insurance can still fuck you over. And you go, well, why should I have to pay for that person if I pay for my insurance? I mean, the cost would go way down, because when you've got your car and they go, are you doing this on insurance or are you paying for yourself? If you say I'm doing it on insurance, the job costs $5,000. If you're paying for yourself, it's a fucking $1,000, right? And that's whenever you go in on insurance, that's why our premiums are so high, and that's why some companies can't afford to employ as many people and all this type of fucking bullshit, because you're getting surgeries that they claim are $30,000 and they're fucking not.
Yeah.
The only doctors that are honest in America are plastic surgeons. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
Because you can't claim it on insurance. A set of tits costs what a set of tits cost.
$7,000.
Yeah, they're $7 to $20,000,
Yeah.
depending what town you're in. That's how much they fucking cost, right?
Yeah.
But imagine if a set of tits was an emergency procedure.
$100,000.
$100,000 and your family's in debt, and you know what I mean? Like, you're telling me that a set of tits is easy, is harder, is easier than casting a leg that's been broken? You know what I mean? Like, you're putting new tits and sculpting and all that type of stuff. Madness, they're the only honest doctors. It doesn't sound like they would be, but they are.
My friend is a doctor, and he goes, do not go. He goes, the more you go to the doctor, the faster you'll die. Right. Because they'll give you a drug, then they have to give you another drug once that other drug wears off. So they're constantly pumping you with drugs because they're just giving you whatever deal they have. And he goes, the more you go, the more you notice the people that go to the doctor the most, they're on the most pills.
Yeah.
So he goes, only go to the doctor when you have an emergency, or you don't want to be that, because every year or every 2 years you got to get something else because the other pills don't work. And he goes, that's what our system does.
Well, you're the only country in the world that, I don't know this for a fact, but it feels, I've traveled the world. You're the only country that has advertises medicine. Ask your doctor about Cialis, right? Ask your doctor about this lipidoid or whatever that will lower your fucking... You're not meant to ask your doctor about shit.
Yeah.
They're meant to tell you what you need and what's wrong with you. They're the professionals. You shouldn't be going... I'd like to add something to my fucking antidepressant that I've been told from the TV. Well, you know what I mean? That's ridiculous. And every person that travels to America and sees that on the TV, the first, like my dad just left, they're always stunned by it. Every friend I had to come, and I'm used to it now, so I forget about it. But every time they watch the TV, they go, what the fuck's this?
Yeah.
And then when they afterwards, and side effects might be death.
Death, yeah.
Side effects might be suicidal thoughts, death, hemorrhaging, fucking all this type of bullshit. And you're like, they're bad, man. The side effects sound... But, I take tablets to keep me hair in me fucking head. You know what I mean? My mother was... my mother passed away, and she was a big fan of tablets.
Really?
Pills were like if something was wrong, there was always a magic pill to fix it.
Yeah.
There was never exercise and diet. There was never those two things. Well, now I'll be okay. There was always, I need another pill. And by the end, she was fucking, she rattled. She was having like these little jars of them every day and there was an Oxycontin in there, and there was a this and a that and a Valium and a whatever. And it's like also like.
She had a pill cocktail going.
She had a pill cocktail, and when she died, they found lots of tablets in the house, loads and loads and loads of them, where just boxes and boxes of drugs. When my dad had to go back to the pharmacy and go, can you take all these back? It was just ridiculous.
Now, was it?
But then I think about it. I'm not condoning painkillers and Oxycontin and stuff like that. But I will say this: I've had an injury where I've taken painkillers, and I get it. And I used to think my mother wasted her life because she spent the last 30 years just sitting in a chair, not moving, taking painkillers. And maybe she fucking nailed life. Maybe she did. Maybe she had the life that, because I've done it for a week and I've gone, that was a good week. And
then she's going, that's a great 30 years.
And then I'm like, but I should get up because you got to get out of the house. But why? Why do I have to get out of the house?
I've never been on painkillers. What does it do to you? Like, what's it make you feel like?
just numbs everything and makes you feel like warm. I feel like you're just warm, like you're just like,
Okay.
And also, it's not as much pain. It's like, who's in pain? Because I'm not feeling any pain right now. If I really think about it, maybe I've got a little bit of a sinus thing. You know, if I'm trying, but for the most part, I'm not feeling any pain. You know, and so it's not like if I took one now that it would be the same because I'd still not be feeling any pain. What it is it sort of you stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And giving a fuck is what brings you me personally, a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety. And you know, because I give a fuck, right? When you take away giving a fuck, and that's why I've always liked drinking, because there's a escapism. I love escapism. It's just more escapism. And the problem with drinking or drugs or anything, I have a theory that, you know, I don't know if I'm a network TV guy now, whether I should talk about drugs.
Well, I don't want you to mess up your NBC.
No. No, I have a theory that we've all, like, you know, when you're making a player on a computer game, and you've got 100 points of attributes that you can divvy over maybe 7 or 8 things, you know, agility, speed, skill, coordination, whatever, you know what I mean? And you use all those points up, and then that's the person, you know. I believe that we've all got a certain number of drinks we're allowed to drink, and then you've drunk them all.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a certain amount of drugs we can take, and then you've taken all your amount of drugs, and you might use them all up in your 20s or teens, and you might have run out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't, you know, I hardly drink anymore. And when I'm working on TV, I don't drink at all anymore. You know, but you know, I think I've had enough drinks now that I get drunk pretty easily. that my number's sort of up, right? But if I was a sensible drinker in my 20s, I could have kept drinking into my 90s because my allotment would have been.
You went too hard.
I used so you've got a certain level of, you know, even things like marriage. People have got so many marriages in them before they go, no more marriages. I've used all my marriage quota up. Yeah.
Well, I also think it's a thing when you said about drinking, and now, did that change because you had a son? Did you start? What changed when you had a son?
A lot changed when I have a son. I think I'm a pretty good dad. His mother's.
Oh, you're a great dad.
His mother's, you know, she drank as well, so she never, but not during the pregnancy. I remember really, this is real alcoholic talk. I remember really enjoying the pregnancy because I had a designated driver. And I thought life was like, Ernie knew me back then.
Yeah.
You know? and I knew that my life was going to settle down, and so that 9 months I hit it pretty hard.
Oh, went all the way.
So that changed me. That was like, felt like a last hurrah type of thing. And then and then I had some pretty solid years where I took care of myself pretty good there, and then when he was 4 and me and his mother broke up, I had a little bit more of a slide because the week I had him, I was the perfect father and all that type of stuff, and then the week I didn't have him, got a bit more debauched. You know what I mean? Because I was like, all right, I got free time again, and you know what I mean. And I found, like, as a separated, and my ex is one of my best friends and will always be, and we had a child very early, so it was you've met her. She comes over to the house. She still hangs out. Yesterday she came over just to hang out for a couple of hours, you know. That's cool. Yeah, no, and we're best buds, and so I see my son for a full week, and then the other week I still see him about 3 times a week. And the funny thing is, when we were together, she monopolized his time, especially as a little infant, so much that I was mostly playing video games in the early years because she put him to bed because that's what he wanted, and she spoon-fed him and stuff like that. So I felt like a little bit more of a separate person. I believe I really started parenting better when I became a single parent.
Well, because now it's just one-on-one.
One-on-one. And then, like, there's things that, like, his mother, looks at me now like he's doing his shoes up, and I go have a shower, and he goes to have a shower by himself. And normally she's there going, make sure you wash your bum.
Yeah.
She's in there with him like okay, he just does it. And then sometimes I put him to bed, and sometimes I go, time to go to bed, mate, off you go. I just send him upstairs, right?
I think my son's only 3, and right now he's so attached to my wife. I mean, he loves me, but it's not like a mother love.
This is the thing is, so I used to think that I would always be the second-class citizen in my son's eyes. Yeah. It's all changed. I'm the favorite. And it came out of nowhere. And
what age?
It came about a year and a bit ago, and he openly says it to me and to his mother all the time. Like, Dad's my favorite. He goes, Dad, I love you more than anyone in the world. I do love you, Mum. Like, he says, and she's such a sweet lady that she just loves that me and him are so close.
That's
great. Know. So but she does. I think she gets a little jealous of it, and I always go to her. I go, look, it's gonna swing back and forth, and I don't know, man. I think and the problem is, and I desperately wanted it his whole childhood. I desperately wanted to be the favorite. I wanted to be the favorite. And then when I got to be the favorite, I don't know if I was ready for the responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, fuck, I can't. He has to sit next to me. Like if we're at the theme park, I have to do all the rides. Like, I can't have a ride off or anything like that. And then I want Dad to put me to bed. And it's like, I used to just sit downstairs.
I know, right? You had it easy. Like, that's the thing. Right now, I got it so easy. My wife puts him to bed. My wife feeds him. I'm sitting right next. Like, I'm right there, but he doesn't want me to do anything.
Even when he was a kid with his nappy changed, he used to fucking cry murder if I was doing it.
Well, I'll tell you this. We had a girl, and I can already tell that little girl loves me. Like, she'll cry when my wife holds her, and she won't cry when I hold her, and it makes me feel so good.
It does make you
like, it makes like, payback.
Payback. It's sadistic, the old parenting.
Yeah.
There is like a little, but you know what I do find, and people who aren't parents will never really know what this feels like. And people go, oh no, because you feel a love that you can't explain and the wishy-washy stuff. The easiest way I can put it is you don't just have empathy for them, you live everything they live.
Yes.
If they have a bad day at school, you're having a bad day. If they come home and they're bullied or something and they're crying, and then you feel like you've been bullied. And you know, where if it's someone else's kid, you're like, oh, poor little fella, I hope he does it. You have empathy for people, but you don't have this emotional connection where you literally feel what they feel. And that old saying, you're only as happy as your saddest child. And that's why I look at people with like fucking 6 of them.
No.
7 of them.
I told my wife I'm done. 2, you got a boy and a girl, done.
You getting the snip?
That's it. Nah. I can't do that. I'm just scared of it. I don't know. I got to read about it.
What are you scared of?
They snip it.
Yeah, but you still come and everything.
Oh, see, I don't.
And then you can come inside your wife or any random person you want, you know. and you're all right.
It's not 100%.
Does your wife listen to this?
It's not 100% though. So you can't do that.
Well, are you
snip, Jim?
No, I want another one.
Oh, okay.
I want another one. Yeah, I would like one soon. Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd like another. I don't want to get too old.
That's my fear. Like, that's why I got him knocked out. We got married a year later. We had my son, and now we have a baby girl. It's like I'm already started late. Like, my parents started like 15 years before me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like gonna be the old dad, but at least that's why I'm taking care of myself.
How old are you when you had your last child?
I'm 40. I was 44 when I had my daughter. So yeah. So 20 years from now I'm 64. But
yeah. Well, also we seem to be younger these days. Just people seem.
Are we saying that because
no? You look at photos of people back in the day. They weren't fucking.
They didn't age well.
They didn't age well back in the day. And I don't know what it is, but it's like I remember my dad at this age, and he wasn't.
They look really old at our age.
But so my dad now. He's 78, and he had me at the same age that I had my son, and I think that's like
good.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, he's an old fella now, but like if I pictured him now, so I would be another 8 years old. If I picture 8 years older, no, he would have been an old ass fucking man.
Yeah.
So you're really not going to live into their 40s.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
And you might live, but you
you're
won't
not
be
living. Yeah, you're there.
Into their 40s. You're not giving them fucking advice anymore.
No.
They're taking, They're taking.
You're annoying now.
Oh, I had to. My father was with me, and I had to talk to him like a child at times. Like he gets in my car and he just opens the glove box and all that type of stuff. I had to slap his hand. Get out of it. Sit down. What are you doing? We're just going for a drive. Oh, I was just trying to look at all the different things.
It's so interesting. We go backwards. Like literally, the older my dad just fell off a treadmill yesterday.
Right.
He instead of 2, he hit 12 and didn't realize he hit 12. So he's standing on his treadmill.
Yeah, and he's sprinting. He's sprinting and not knowing the technology. Like that's all the bad stuff at once.
So he falls off. He cuts up his legs and everything. And then I go, well, didn't you wear like shorts or pants or anything? He's like, nah, I run in my underwear. I'm like, oh God.
Oh, so you wear the clip that attaches to the machine.
Underwear.
Oh yeah, you wear that thing. Wear that thing that slips off and pulls the machine off.
But it's true. You got to talk to them like they're kids sometimes. You know?
100%. My mother, right towards the end, I tried to put her in a nursing home. And she was like, I'm not going in a nursing home. I said, Mum, I'm not doing this because I'm evil. I'm doing this because you physically can't take care of yourself anymore. You need constant care. And I'm in America and my brother lives in a different city. And I said, and Dad can't lift you up anymore to go to the bathroom. You got to go to a nursing home. And I said, I'll pay for it. Let's get you the fucking Rolls Royce of nursing homes, let's do this, right? And then my mother said, if I have to share a room with another person, I'll kill myself. And I was like, and I went, I go, that sums your whole life up. And right. Maybe this person will become your new best friend.
Ugh.
Maybe you'll find a kindred spirit. I go, because a lot of the nursing homes were like, we'll take her, but she has to share a room with someone for a month until a single room comes up. You know what I mean? Just a temporary thing. Why they're fine? Because they need space. It was still a good one. No, I'm not doing that. I'll kill myself. How are you going to kill yourself? And I go, I'll roll out of bed. Well, you'll just break a bone. You're not going to kill yourself. You'll just make more trouble for everyone. Like, don't do that. And so on like the last day, well, this is kind of sad. On the last day that she was, it had become time. Because what was happening was she was falling over in the home once a week. And we would
falling over at just walking and then would fall?
Fall, just, gotcha. And she had just the onset of Parkinson's. She had diabetes. She was morbidly obese. She didn't move, so the muscles were all, she had polio as a kid. It was all fucking coming to a head, right? And she'd stand up and just fall over. And she'd only get up once or twice a day to go to the bathroom. That's all she would do. She wouldn't worry about doing anything else, And so Dad couldn't lift her up, and the next door neighbor used to come over, and the two of them together couldn't do it. And they'd have to get an ambulance once a week. So this is like the Australian.
Wow.
And see, my father's a Trump supporter, right? And thinks the American system's better. I go, you would be fucking broke, dude. You used to get an
because you're paying for it.
You used to get an ambulance a week. He goes, oh, yeah, America's good. Right?
What's your dad like about Trump?
My father's a guy from rural Australia who. My dad's a great guy. I love my dad very much, but he's a guy from rural Australia who, how do I put this?
Thinks minorities are taking over their land.
He's scared of change.
Gotcha.
And what he wants is a bloke who tells it how it is. Too many of these politicians, they talk wishy-washy, and he likes that this guy irritates people. My father likes an he enjoys that aspect of it.
I think they watch it as entertainment more than, they're actually making like decisions for the.
Boris Johnson, he also likes. He met my girlfriend's from Britain, and he spoke to my girlfriend's mother for the first time, and she's like a 50-something-year-old woman, and my father thought this was a good way to introduce himself. On FaceTime, she was talking on FaceTime. I wasn't in the house. Fuck, I would have stopped it. But he goes, what do you think about Boris Johnson? To an English person. And she's married to an Indian guy, right? My girlfriend's half in. So she's married to an Indian and like,
it did not
and
go
so he goes, what do you think about Boris Johnson? And she's very diplomatic and went, well, it's like, I wouldn't have voted for him. I didn't vote for him. Well, a lot of people did. A lot of people did. So he must have something about him. And I said, Dad, just fucking ask about the fucking weather. You know what I mean? And he goes, if someone came to Australia and asked me about my Prime Minister, I would be happy because they were taking an interest in my country. And it's like, no, you just fucking...
You just want to start a fight.
Just want to start a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just loves it. And so we had a policy when he came out that no, we can't talk about Trump because my dad keeps on telling me how much better my life is because of Trump. and it's like, I'm not, look, I know I had a political show. I don't really, and I've said a few political routines. I'm not a highly charged political person.
Yeah.
I also consider myself to be a moderate. I'm not left wing or right. In fact, the left and the right, there's people in both those groups that despise me. I don't find a home politically with anybody, really. What I found a problem in the TV show was this, with the Jim Jefferies show, was you would have to do a topic every week, and there were some things like the guns or the healthcare that I was passionate about, that I had a lot that I wanted to say. And then there was things that I didn't really give a fuck about, but if you want to ask me my opinion, I'll give it to you, right? Because that was the show. I had to give an opinion.
Of course.
So let's just say, for example, there was a thing in, I think it was Canada or something like that. How many genders should there be, right? Now, already I'm like, well, I'm fucked now. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And they asked me how many genders, and I said, I don't, 6. I was thinking like pre-op, post-op, thinking about operation, male, female, and then just a random one.
Yeah.
That I'll give you that you can,
I'll give you.
that you can just throw in there that I might be ignorant about. And they went, no, there's 30, right? And I was like, okay. Now, I don't give a fuck that there's 30. Have 100. Yeah. And if you want me to call you a thing, I will call you that thing. I don't care. Yeah. It's fine. But then if you ask me,
your opinion,
do you think 30 is too much?
Yeah.
I think 30 is a bit much. How about we go to 8? You know what I mean? Like, but then all of a sudden, then you're in trouble because you're anti something, and I'm not anti. I don't care. It's not a battle that I need to win.
Did you get in a lot of trouble on the show?
I got depends what trouble is. You know, I got a lot of hate mail.
Did you really?
Yeah, tons of it. Yeah, and then I started thinking, oh, woe is me. The internet's coming to get me again, and then I found out that John Oliver gets probably as much, if not more, and I can't imagine what Trevor Noah probably gets. There's probably a bit of racism mixed in with his hate mail, you know. And
he's not from here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, Jon Stewart probably got so much because he was like a master at it too.
Yeah. And so I'm not a person who I feel like John probably enjoys it because he always lists the thing. I stay away from it. I don't really. Every now and again I duck my head into social media and put a post or something. But then I never read the comments underneath or anything.
So you're not a big social media person?
No, and I've never been a big internet. I don't own a computer.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't own a computer, and you can send an email from your phone or anything like that. I've never written a joke down. My memory's not as what it used to be. I used to have a really good memory, and so I used to just come up with ideas and then just say them. And just recently, I've been putting like a word here, a word there in my phone, just in notes, just one word.
Yeah, I've never written a joke. I just go up there. I think when you're telling real stories, you're not like a joke writer. You just know the story.
And all the scripts I've written, I write scripts like, you know, I write a lot of the legit scripts, and I've sold some movie scripts and some other TV pilots. And the script that I'm writing at the moment for MEC, I write it like I'm in a psychiatrist's office. I have a person with a computer sitting next to me, and I lay on a sofa, and then I really think about it really hard the night before, and then I can mostly get out a whole 30-minute episode in about 4 hours.
Now, that's with dialogue, everything.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about it a lot for weeks and weeks and weeks before that, and then I'll punch it up and do little things afterwards. That's not the whole process, but the meat of the job I'll do just laying on my back. So you like, do you? Is it all in your voice, or are you doing different voices? No, I do different people's dialogue
cool.
and all that type of stuff. Yeah, and I've always sort of, I've always sort of, and then I say to someone to email it to me or something or print it out. I still deal with like hard paper copies. I don't really, I got the iPad and an iPad pen, like this is me now. I'm going to be this guy. And then I fucking never used it, man. And it's weird because I'm arguably a product of the internet, because all the clips all went viral and I never monetized a clip or anything. So someone made, that gun thing before it got taken down, got to 60 million.
Somebody made, and that was when YouTube was paying too back then.
Yeah, someone made bank who just put it up there. Mm-hmm. Good luck to them. But I didn't get any money off that.
What's your worst experience on stage?
Well, there's the infamous I got punched in the head, but that wasn't the worst. Because that's just physical pain.
Yeah.
There's been times that I've been booed off, and that doesn't feel good.
Not recently though.
No, not recently. Not
okay.
recently.
Was it when you were like known and people?
No, before I was known, and it was like it's still now. I have problems going down to the Comedy Store or something because if people don't know me, sometimes I think they're just not going to like me, and I think like my fans like me, and that's but I get very insecure about that, and I been booed off, but I think the worst experiences I've had on stage are the ones where I've let myself down. And that's been few and far between. But, I've always given my best when I'm on stage, and I've always tried really hard.
Well, how would you let yourself down?
Well, there's been, on occasions, not a load, and there'll probably be people writing underneath now. Oh, fuck it. I get accused of being drunk sometimes on stage when I haven't had a single drink. I think the accent and just the the way that my thoughts are disconnected until I join them all together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but then there's been times when I've been on too many substances to really perform at my best, and I've still done fine shows. And then I'll give myself this: there's been times when I've been on stage where I was leathered, like blackout drunk, that were some of my best performances ever. So because I was just like a Jedi. My brain was just working and funny, and just every quick response, and then every little idea that I ever thought was great that I was too scared of doing, and it was all working.
So do you remember that moment?
I remember.
Or do you have to watch it back?
One of my second, Alcoholics is my best special. I was blind on that one, on the actual special.
Whoa.
Yeah, I called it Alcoholics after the special but I was blind, and that's my best one.
Wow.
And there's jokes on that I never remembered doing before the special. That I just did. It was like I was just in a Zen mode. I just had it that day, But then, okay, so the top 2% of my gigs that had some type of substancy problem with them, right?
Uh-huh.
But the bottom 10% of my gigs have also had that problem, and all the sober gigs have all been in the meat of the good to average to good area. And that's where you really want to be, the consistent and all that type of stuff. So, there's been times I've let myself down. There was a gig in New Zealand where I could not be fucked anymore with these people in Auckland. They just wouldn't stop heckling. There was 3,000 people, and they just wouldn't stop heckling. And they just, what about the rugby? What about the thing?
Oh, so they would just yell out stuff.
Fucking New Zealanders, man. They're like, oh man, I'm not bigoted about a lot of groups, but fuck.
They're not good, huh?
Not if you're Australian, you'd have a wonderful time. If you're Australian, they have a chip on their shoulder about you.
Is that go to rugby?
Yeah, to them it does, but I don't give a fuck about rugby. So you're telling me about a game that I don't watch, that I don't, But it's also there's 3 million of them, and it's like when you meet a Canadian. And you call them American, they go, no, I'm Canadian. When you meet an American, you go, are you Canadian? They go, oh, no, I'm American. And they're fine with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You call me New Zealand, doesn't bother me in the slightest. You go up to New Zealand, are you from Australia? No, I'm not. I'm not from Australia. I'm full. Right? And so being on stage, and also I feel like their comedy, Rhys Darby's one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. I know Fly the Conchord's great. Taika was all in that group as well, and like he's Oscar-winning director now, And there was a small group of them, but like for the most part, they don't go out and watch comedy. So I was a big act in town, 3,000. And then and it was like they all showed up like this. I'm going to give that heckling a go. You know what I mean?
Now, do you cut a show short after that?
No, well, I went, and someone can find this article somewhere because I'll tell you, it's a load of fucking bullshit. And I remember being angry in the morning, but it was just the heckling got so much, and I was trying to do the jokes, and they were cutting me off at punchlines, ruining routines like this, right? And a strange thing had happened in the audience where I was like trying to put them down. Normally the audience is with you, but the audience sort of felt like, oh, this is meant to be a fight. You know what I mean? Like, so they weren't really egging each other on, but normally the audience self-polices and people feel shame and embarrassment if they keep going on too long.
Especially they spend all this money to get in.
Yeah, and the comics, So I had to sort of break, not when I say character, but persona, you know. I had to break persona and go, hey, guys, this isn't working. I can't get jokes out. I just can't. I tried to reason. I said, I can't get jokes out. I said, look, if you keep doing this, I'll just have to leave because you can just sit here and yell at each other and have the same experience. You don't even need me up here, right? And I said, how about we just be quiet? See if we can be quiet as a room for 10 seconds. And then we'll reset and we'll act like it's a new show and we're a new audience. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I've done something like that. I've seen comics do similar things to that where it's sort of worked, where people have gone, oh, yeah, okay, you have to talk to them like children, but eventually they go, all right, yeah, that would be better, and, you know, we've pushed it, yeah. And so I went to 10. It got to 4 or 5 seconds before they started yelling at April 18th or cunt or gun control or whatever they, right? And they started and I went like this, and I was going to walk off stage, and I went, and then I remembered I had a school teacher called Mrs. Fisher. And Mrs. Fisher was my maths teacher. And Mrs. Fisher, you could be throwing balls in the classroom, standing on the table with your dick out, and she wouldn't do shit, right? But she would keep teaching. She'd just keep talking and doing the maths. And if you listened to her, she was an amazing teacher. But it wasn't her decision whether you listened to her or not.
That's right.
It was yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like figuring that out halfway through the year that I just had to listen to Mrs. Fisher, you know, if I was going to pass this fucking class, because otherwise what was the benefit of the whole thing? Mm-hmm. And so I thought I'd Mrs. Fisher this bitch up, man. and I was doing the routines. They could yell out all they want. I didn't acknowledge if they were yelling, if people were fucking standing up going to think. I just kept on going. And then I went to the thing. And then my kid said to me, blah, 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 blah. And then fucking guns, fucking blah, 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 blah. Like that. And so I got over it. Now, the next day, there was people on forums going, he was so unprofessional. He didn't control the room and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yes, I've been going for this year and I can't do it. I'm obviously an idiot who doesn't know how to do comedy. I'm a fucking moron who I, you know. Uh-huh. And so the New Zealand Telegraph rang up my manager at 6 a.m. to ask if I had anything to say about the whole incident. And they said, well, he's asleep, right? The article went like this. Jim Jefferies it goes Australian prima donna. Australian prima donna asked for, I haven't seen it, it's the New Zealand Telegraph, someone can find it. Australian prima donna asked for a minute's silence. I didn't. I said 10 seconds. And the person who wrote it wasn't even in the room. They just read some comments that people put like, how dare he ask for a minute's silence or whatever, like just from drunken cunts on the way home. And now it became fact. And then they go, we reached out to Mr. Jefferies, but he refused to comment.
You're asleep.
It was 6 a.m. I was asleep.
Oh, man.
And so it's like it was like that was like me in New Zealand done. Mm-hmm. I got offered a lot of money to do a gig in New Zealand, and I told them no, thank you. No. I might go back in 4 or 5 years when I've forgiven them, but I'm still angry. I'm still angry with their fucking chippy little press, you know, and their fucking attitude. Go fuck yourself, New Zealand.
What was this? How long ago did this happen? 5, 6 years ago?
Oh, yeah, about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I'm very unforgiving.
Okay, yeah. 10 years. You'll be good.
10 years, I'm back.
You can make it a party, a 10-year anniversary.
Look, I've got no. Sounds super racist, but they're not a race; they're a nationality.
Yeah.
I have no problems with the individuals. I have many New Zealand friends, and will continue to. It's just them as a group that I don't like. It's when they get together in packs.
At your show.
Yeah, at my show. Yeah.
That's at your show. Can you talk about the NBC show a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you're shooting a pilot.
I am.
You're staffing it up. How's that going? Where are you?
We've cast it. I don't know. This is one weird thing about TV. I never know. If I said right now who the cast is, I might be in trouble, or it might not.
Oh no,
matter.
I want you to say that. You will be.
I
in
think
trouble.
someone would have to make an announcement.
Yeah, they need
something.
But do you have the full cast?
I have the full series regular cast. The 5 main. Hang on. The 5 main characters I have.
Okay, and this is a show where you were just chilling on the couch, yelling at the person. Or not yelling, but telling the person what to type. And this is how this project.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
did you write it with someone?
I wrote it with a lady called Suzanne Martin, and she was one of the head writers on Frasier and on Will and Grace, and so she created Hot in Cleveland, and
Oh, nice.
and so Suzanne's been around for a long time. Actually, after this, I'm going to go hang out with Suzanne and write some stuff. And they buy the show, and then they set you up interviews with showrunners, and you meet someone who you gel with, or for me, it's even not even gel with, who's enthusiastic about the project.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to meet someone you get along with.
What's interesting is when we were talking about before they even announced it, you have this very nonchalant attitude at that time because it wasn't like you weren't casting, and you were like, "Hey man, you know how this business goes. It could happen, and then it could all go."
Look,
are you more invested?
No, I still think that. I don't get it. I'm like people who had children during the Victoria era, right? They never got attached to the kids until they were about 3 because the infant death was like at 60%. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right.
All right. We'll go along with that.
So I'm not going to get attached. I'm not going to get attached to my baby, the show, until it's up and running, because then I'll be really sad when it dies. If I don't make an emotional connection to it, I'll be okay. I hope the best. I'm going to do everything I can to not let this baby die.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to do everything in my power. But I've been. Look, I will say this about the shows that I made. Legit and the Jim Jefferies show. I've been happy with both of them. I think they've been good products, and whether other people think that or not, that's up to them. But me personally, I think I've produced good shows. So if I produce something that's good, it of course it matters if people watch it, because you need people to watch it to be successful. But if I can hold my head up high and go, it was good, I'll be happy with that. And then I feel like the rest is in the gods a little bit.
How far are you away from shooting the pilot?
April.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're getting in there. They're building sets.
That's so cool.
Yeah. They're building and it is weird when someone goes, "This will be your house," and you're like, "Well, this is where I live."
That's amazing.
And then the house they're building me is nicer than my own house. I'm like, this is lovely.
Now
I might live on set.
Are you a type of person that you'll go to acting class, or are you just going to go and be yourself?
Well, I'm playing myself.
Yeah.
And I've already done that in another show. But they used to give me a lot of takes, and this is multicam. But I'm going to get a few coaching sessions just for reactionary things. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to time a joke. I'm not worried about that. But mate, in real life, and people who are watching this right now may have noticed I have problems listening to the other person. So I have to work on that, and they go, oh.
Oh yeah,
And then when someone acts shocked, you go, oh. I remember when I was acting in Legit. So Dan Bacadol, who was in it, many people, he was in Life in Pieces, and he's been in loads of. He plays in Veep. He played the character that used to just be the congressman who used to come in and just used to have a whole lot of put downs. Was like,
okay, yep.
So Dan's a great Second City actor. Really good actor, and most of my scenes were with Dan, and me and that character were always sort of on the same emotional journey. So if he was sad, I was sad. If he was happy, if he was shocked, if he was drunk, my character was drunk. If he was whatever, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And so often I used to just instead look at what his face was doing and
He's just copying.
and I go, oh, Dan's angry. I'm angry. Oh!
So do you get nervous like acting? Because stand-up's so like
I towards the end of that show, I sort of started to get comfortable with it.
comfortable, yeah.
And I was looking forward to it, and then doing a few more risky things and scenes and stuff like that. The Jim Jefferies show, I used to just sort of stand there and tell the first few episodes, and by the end I was moving a lot, and I looked really comfortable up there. And then they fucking took it away from me, and I was like, all right. So every time I get good at something, it's like I wasn't a great stand-up comedian day fucking one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem with these things is we write off, and I even think this about sitcoms or whatever, you know, a lot of things now are cancelled before they get their footing, you know?
Yeah, it's an industry that will take it away really quick and never give anything a chance anymore because it's more about the executives. You know, they take the brunt of that.
They've got, you know, but you think of like the first episode, the pilot of Seinfeld didn't have a lane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it didn't even have a female character. It had a waitress that they'd chat to in the coffee house who was meant to be, you could so clearly see that Larry David and Joey Seinfeld were like, oh, there has to be a woman. There'll be a waitress. We go to the same coffee shop. We're in 3 scenes there.
Yeah.
There'll be a woman that always serves us, and we chat to her. And
it's a thing where that show evolved because I remember it was supposed to be like at the beginning, it didn't start with a stand-up, or did it start with a stand-up?
I believe,
because I know they added it or took it away later.
Yeah, I believe it started with a stand-up.
And by the third or fourth, they took that element away.
Yeah,
it's very light.
It wasn't necessary. Also, Seinfeld probably had run out of material.
Yeah.
To keep putting at the front of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the material always had something to do with the actual show that you were watching.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got a similar device happening in, not a stand-up device, but a similar device happening in my show.
Okay.
Which is
I got to go to the taping. I want to be there, man.
Yeah, you can come, man.
I want to see it.
Live studio audience. I wonder, I just want to know, when I open the door, will everyone go, woo? Will that happen?
Oh, yeah. Because they got a guy with an applause sign that says applaud.
Yeah.
So they will. Because they're forced to.
Yeah, like that. That's got to feel good, right?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Have you ever done it?
I've done it, but it wasn't my show. But this is it's your show, so it's a different level. Like when you come out.
What multicam thing did you do?
I did the one, it was called Happy Endings, Dwayne, one of the Wayne's brothers.
Yeah,
I did
know
Kevin
that.
Can Wait.
My ex was on that.
Okay, I did Kevin Can Wait with
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Smith. Kevin.
No, oh my God.
Blanking.
Kevin James. God,
Kevin
I'm
James.
sorry, Kevin James.
Yeah.
Sorry, he put me on 3 times on that show. Sorry, Kevin James. But yeah, so I've done a little bit, but now like this is the first time where I'm totally out of hosting and I'm just doing stand up and acting. So I'm focusing on that.
Do you miss hosting?
No. But I like it. But I also
miss interviewing.
Yeah.
I miss interviewing people. I got good at that. I was so bad at it to begin with, and I hated it. And then when I broke through, I was like, oh, that was.
You know what I like hosting and I like interviewing people, but I don't like that other people control it. Like what I like about you, Joe Coy, Joe Rogan, and different comics is you control your own destiny. If you want to do a project, you can do it, but stand up is the base. And that's where I want to get to.
I saw your boy Joe did the Coliseum the other night.
Dude, 2 nights sold out. 2 nights sold out the Forum.
Wow. I knew he was
incredible.
big, but I didn't know he was that big.
Oh yeah. Sold 40-something thousand tickets in Hawaii. Like the dude's crushing it all over the country now. In the world.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Wow, 40,000 in Hawaii. Oh.
Yeah, it's amazing. But that's what I mean, you know, we all hope to be that big. But my thing is, I just want to support my family with comedy, and then
I've already peaked. I'm on the way down. I think I've done.
Do you worry about that?
Well, no, because I still do 2,000 seats.
Yeah.
Wherever I go, and that's the best size to do. But I remember I did 13,000 seats in Melbourne. I did the Rod Laver Arena, which is where they do the Australian Open, the tennis, right? And that was like a record for an Australian comic ever or whatever like that. And I remember walking out, it was just that many people and going, all right, well, this is the top of the mountain, and now, now it's time to go down.
Do you think it's harder or easier today for a comic to break? Like to get to the level that you or these other comics get to?
I think it's easier, but it's a different journey than what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd break in the modern era. I don't think I'd have the same. I broke because people kept on coming to see me, and it was a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. It wasn't like the internet wasn't a thing, and it wasn't my social media, and it wasn't that I started releasing a minute's worth of stand-up a week and this and that, and I wasn't doing mailing lists where people were targeted thing, and you know, still to this day, I don't like when because I'm an old fella, I don't like when a comic takes a photo of themselves in front of a big fucking crowd. I don't like when a comic takes a photo of themselves getting on a private jet. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think you're meant to be cool as fuck, man, and you should be like a little bit elusive. And if you're performing in front of fucking 10,000 people, it's because you're meant to be performing in front of fucking 10,000 people. But other people think, I think they think it's more humbling to just go, look at that. I think it's braggy or something. There's something, and most people do that when they do bigger rounds. So I'm not bagging on one particular person.
No, I got you.
But me personally, I feel like that's like, I'd feel douchey doing that.
Almost act like you've been there before.
Yeah, but I feel like now acting douchey is what our society is.
Well,
our society is now all about likes and this and look what I've done and look at this and look at that and look at this, right? And so now to get there, you have to and I'm not saying these people are douchebags.
No.
I'm saying you kind of have to act douchey and keep just plugging yourself all the time, like, this is what I'm up to. Catch me here. Come on to me.
You know, it is true because for instance, I go to a bunch of shows and we have friends that do big arenas and things like that. But when you go there, you know, I feel that a lot of it is, if a lot of people today's society, if a lot of people see people going to you and you show that, then other people will go, well, if all these people, they're cattle, we're cattle. Oh, well, we must go. We got to go too, because look at all these people going.
Okay, a good example. I saw Chris Angel, right? This guy, take my kid to magic shows in Vegas. So I took him to Chris Angel. We'd seen Copperfield the day before.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm there with my kid and I'm seeing Chris Angel. And Chris Angel was just like with his douchey haircut, and he's probably a very nice man. I know he's had a lot of problems with his little boy, so I would never want to bang on this guy. But he was just there with his haircut and everything, and he's like, don't listen to social media. Social media rots your brain, and don't let the haters get you and people who write nasty comments. And this is it. We're here in a moment. We should be keeping it real. And then like within a minute later, like, so hashtag Chris Angel live. And he was making everyone take a photo of him like, here we are at the fucking blah, blah, blah casino. And you're like, you perform 7 days a week, dude.
Yeah. But it's you know what? It's the time we're in right now.
No, it is. But that's how you say.
Man.
So I think I'm in the wrong. I should be doing all those things. And I probably could promote myself a lot better. But But you also don't need it because you're established too. Man, fucking, I'll tell you this. Brad Pitt and George Clooney, they're not on fucking social media, right?
Yeah?
All right, every fucking rock star worth anything in their ilk, they're not. They might be on social media, but they're not. I don't run my social media, but they're not running their social media.
But Brad Pitt was on the Jim Jefferies show,
Brad
so
Pitt.
You know he doesn't do social media, but he's does the Jim Jefferies.
The nicest man in Hollywood. The nicest man in Hollywood.
How'd that happen? Real quick, and then you can go after. How that did he just call up or what?
Well, funnily enough, there was a movie that he did called War Machine, and then they said, oh, can someone interview him for an extra feature? And it was my first interview. That's why I said I was bad at it. My first ever interview of anybody in any facet was Brad Pitt, and he requested me. And I think he just watched like one of my specials the night before or something like that. And I went down, and it was the worst interview that anyone's ever given. It was like, it never aired. And people said at the time, this is the problem with entertainment, people blowing smoke at my ass. That was great. That was great. And I was asking stupid questions like, how much is like a gallon of milk? Right?
So what was it?
Because I thought that was interesting. Like, does Brad Pitt know what a gallon of milk? And then he just looked at me, and I was starstruck. And that's the only time I've ever gotten really starstruck where I was like, fucking hell, this guy's the most fucking popular person on the planet. And I was just sort of fumbling around. And then I thought, oh, that went to shit. I got a photo with him and fucking went home a bit depressed. I did, you know. And so then he rings up and he goes, "Hey, I'd like to help out with your show." And then
Wait, he rings up like you.
yeah, and he goes, "I'd like to help you out with your show." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I speak to my management. I said, "Brad Pitt wants to be." I've got the same manager, the same company.
Okay.
Right. And so they go, why don't you ask him about like foster kids or adoption or something like that, or with kids, because he knows about that, or he builds houses in New Orleans for hurricane things. And I was like, yeah, but what's the point of that? And everyone already knows these things. The thing about Brad Pitt is, it's not hard to get footage of him.
Yeah.
He's the biggest movie star in the world. You want to get footage of him doing something a bit different, right?
Yeah.
So I said, how about like if he's like, I don't know, like a sports guy or a weatherman on my show or something like that, right? And they go, don't you ask him to do that. We don't want him looking like a fool or something like that, right?
So this is your management
Yeah, my
team.
manager telling me. I was like, okay. And so I ring up Brad and I'm like, hey man, we could talk about like the houses you build in New Orleans. And he's like, no, I don't want no. And I go, what about like adoption? No, nothing about kids, man. I go, you could be my weatherman. I went like that. And he went, weatherman, ha, I love it. Let's do it.
And that's how it all started. And he did it like 3 or 4 times on your show,
He
right?
did it 6, I
6
think. It was
times.
something crazy like that. We recorded them all in 2 days, in like 2 sessions. In 2 days, like we recorded them all in 30 minutes, all combined.
Now,
like,
is when Brad comes on set, is this a thing where there was no audience there?
no
or
audience. But this is the thing: is okay. So I'm all for that. Women have been mistreated by men over the years.
Yes.
Let's not fucking. I'm not gonna be like. But I tell you what, girls, you don't behave well in certain situations either. I've been to a Thunder from Down Under show, and it was appalling.
Oh,
The women act way worse than a man in a strip club.
I went to one in Vegas. I forgot what actor was doing it. I've never seen women act so taking off clothes, getting
Grabbing
on stage,
at dicks, grabbing.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
because I wrote a sitcom about me being one. It was almost on TBS. It went into production and then it got cancelled. About me being one of the original members from the Thunder from Down Under. I know it's a good show. I've still got this script.
I like it.
And it was a sweet script and there's things, and he had a long lost son and something like. And 20 years ago, this guy was the shit when it started out. And now it's like, but I trained all you guys. And then it's like, so it's a little bit full Monty, a little bit whatever.
Yeah.
And then he tries to go a bit like Snatch, like sort of tries to, steal some drugs and stuff like that. It was like a little dramedy thing that I wrote. And CBS bought it. So me and Chris Case, the guy who I co-wrote the second season of Legit with, we traveled to Vegas to watch the Thunder from Down Under. And not well behaved, the women.
It's disgusting.
We were the only 2 men in the room, and it's like the little guy comes out and goes, "All right, you're all here? You've all got you're on your bachelorette parties. You're all here with your girlfriends and your mums and your mum-in-laws." And he goes, "But you know who's not here? Your husbands or your fucking boyfriends." And all the women went, "Whoa!" like that, right? And then, no touching. We won't say anything, right? And then they just fucking grabbing at dicks and stuff like that. And it was like, holy shit, it was eye-opening, right?
When they brought me down to Vegas, the lady was like, if guys were smart, they would just hang out at the bar afterwards. Like, if you're a single guy,
Yeah.
just go to the Thunder from Down Under show and hang out in the bar and wait for those doors to open, because those women are next level when they walk out of there.
Yeah.
I've never seen, talk about hook up easy, like they're ready to go. Like, I've never seen anything like that in my freaking life.
Where were you when I was single? That would have been a good move. But anyway, so Brad comes to work, and it's like, normally the rehearsal in the morning, we have, we had 6 writers, 7 writers or something, and only about 5 of them would fucking show up.
Yeah.
And then we'd have a production person, a director, and then have the catering person at the back, and then there'd be a cameraman and all that sort of stuff. But sitting in the actual stands, maybe about 10 people, right? And the day that Brad did it, I think every man on that set's wife showed up. People who had nothing to do with anything. And the women who were just like normally just like, oh, I'm a script coordinator and don't give a fuck, or I run accounts. All of a sudden they were desperate to see my rehearsal that day. and they woof whistled and fucking behaved terribly. Behaved terribly. Where I was like, could you imagine if like Gal Gadot showed up to work and then every female's husband rocked up? Like, you got to give it to men. Like, we roll with the punches a little better sometimes, right? if every woman's husband showed up and just went, yeah, as soon as she walked out, we'd have a real problem.
Oh, yeah, big problem.
Big problem.
Oh, big problem.
And I was like, all right, girls, control yourself. And then, like, when we got back, they were still like, did you see his body? Oh, my God. Like, wait till we leave the room.
They're worse than men sometimes.
Yeah, men, at least we wait till they leave the room before we,
He's still, Brad standing next to him like, did you see his body? Like, ugh.
But I can't imagine what it's like to be Brad. I imagine that it's a tricky thing.
Now, after the show, do y'all still keep in contact or?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Good.
We're still friends.
Now, are you touring or anything? Are you on tour right now?
I'm on a tour that ends when I die.
Oh,
Everyone always asks that. You know better.
You're always on tour. I didn't know if you kicked out of it. Yeah.
You're just gigging every second weekend. I gig every second weekend when I don't have my kid. The weeks I don't have my kid, I'm on the road. I have a new tour of new material.
Okay. Cool.
Because I have a Netflix. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I have a special coming out. I don't know if I'm going to get in fucking trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I can't keep up with these things.
Yeah. You have a new special coming.
I have a special that's been recorded that I'm I'm trying to retire that material and do new material right now.
Now, do you like the special? Because I know, like you,
I do love this special.
You do?
I do.
Is it your best one?
It's not my best one. It's not my best one. I would put it at. This would be special number 8, and I'll put it at number 3.
Real okay.
I put it right up there.
What's your first two then?
Alcoholicos and Bear. Okay, are the best two. And Bear, Alcoholicos is the best one, and Bear just because it had the gun thing, and also it had just sort of the first sort of fingerprints of fatherhood on there. Yeah, that I kind of like. It just sort of felt like a meshing of my new life and my old life sort of coming together. And that was a very, happy period in my life as well.
Yeah. All right, Jim, thank you so much for stopping by, bro.
Is that it?
That's it.
I feel like I just talked the whole time.
No, that's what I'm interviewing. That's what a good interviewer does.
Ah, right.
It's about you. It's not
milk.
Huh?
You didn't ask me about how much milk costs.
No.
He doesn't know. He hasn't been grocery shopping in that long. He didn't know whether it was $2 or $8.
Well, how much is milk, Jim?
I think it's like $3. Okay. For a gallon.
See, I don't know. I
think it's like that.
I order everything.
I always think it's similar price to fuel, which I would never understand because Americans and fuel are always complaining about gasoline, right? It's like, it's the same price as milk. Milk comes out like this. And we're not running out of it. We have plenty of cows. Yeah. We have an everlasting source of it. We can make it with nuts.
Do you drink milk or
and then to the earth's core, you're pulling out this finite fucking liquid, this gunk that we're running out of and might end the fucking world. Same price as milk.
All right, Jim. Thank you for stopping by, bro. I will be in 2 weeks, March 7th and 8th at Gotham. Have you performed at Gotham in New York?
I did a TV spot live at Gotham. It's the only spot I've ever done.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So I've never done a proper club gig there.
Okay. Check it out, michaelyo.com and Jim Jefferies. He's everywhere.
I'm doing Thousand Oaks and Newport and something coming up around town. So.
All right, cool. All right. I'll see you next time on the Michael Yo Show.